Shadow by Jacques Duffy is a beautifully illustrated picture book that explores courage, choice, belonging, and the balance between light and darkness. The story follows Shadow, a lonely figure who feels invisible and unwanted when he meets a friend, Sophie, who sees him for who he truly is. He learns that courage and kindness can overcome fear and isolation. The book's key themes include courage versus fear, as Shadow resists the pull of darkness, choice versus destiny, as he creates his own path instead of following what others expect, belonging and individuality, as he searches for a place where he can be himself, and light and darkness, which emphasizes hope and despair. Within Shadow, there are a number of language features which the author utilizes. Duffy's language is poetic and emotional. The author uses these to express Shadow's inner world. The story opens with the line, "The sound shimmered like sunshine." This similarly creates a bright, joyful image that contrasts with Shadow's sadness, showing how he feels disconnected from the happiness around him. As the story continues, the dark boiling cloud that rolled toward Shadow is a vivid personification of fear. The darkness even speaks, saying, "You belong with me in scary school." This moment captures the theme of courage versus fear, as Shadow must decide whether to give in or stand strong. When Sophie appears, her dialogue, "You smell like marshmallows, so I know you must be nice," uses sensory imagery to reveal her blindness in a gentle, positive way. Sophie's words reflect acceptance and understanding, connecting to the theme of belonging and individuality. By the end, the language becomes hopeful and warm. Sophie's laughter twinkled like fairy bells, echoing the opening line and completing the emotional circle. Shadow's realization that being invisible doesn't matter reinforces choice versus destiny. He chooses light, friendship, and courage. Visual features are also utilized within Shadow. The illustrations mirror Shadow's emotional journey through color, composition, and contrast. At the start, the color palette is bright and warm, yellows, pinks, and oranges, but Shadow is drawn as a small, dark figure. This contrast symbolizes how he feels unseen in a world full of light. The composition places him low on the page, surrounded by tall, glowing buildings, emphasizing his isolation. As the story progresses, the contrast between light and darkness intensifies. The swirling black cloud that follows Shadow represents fear and despair, while the bright fairy school in the background symbolizes belonging and hope. The visual tension between these elements reflects the theme of courage versus fear. When Sophie enters, the visuals soften. The warm greens and blues of the seaside setting create a calm, welcoming atmosphere. Sophie's open posture and gentle smile contrast with Shadow's earlier stiffness, showing the beginning of connection. In the final pages, the composition opens up completely. Sophie and Shadow walk hand in hand under a bright sky, surrounded by friends and sunlight. Shadow's darkness no longer isolates him, it becomes part of the bright, colourful world. Throughout the book, light and darkness act as a visual metaphor for emotion. Light representing courage and hope, darkness symbolizing fear and loneliness. The blending of these elements show that courage and kindness can be transformed into belonging. Through poetic language, sound, and expressive illustration, Shadow by Jacques Duffy explores the universal struggle between fear and courage, isolation and belonging. The story begins in darkness and ends in light, showing that identity and friendship are choices made through bravery and compassion. By choosing light over darkness, Shadow discovers that true belonging comes not from being seen by everyone, but from being understood by someone who truly cares.